is everything so expensive now? In Europe, food costs have gone up 34% since 2019, whereas 67% of surveyed Americans say they live paycheck to paycheck. And just this week, oil prices jumped after the Iran attack. The price of coffee has gone up, cars, and of course housing costs in developing countries are insane. I also noticed this in my own life. My rent just went up again last month, and the other day I went to the bakery around the corner and I noticed they increased the price of my favorite bread with 10%. So what's going on?
Inflation.
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 Inflation, I'm afraid.
Inflation?
But when you actually look closer, that explanation doesn't really add up. So in this video, let's look at the real reason why everything is so expensive now. Your money buys less, but not in the way you think. When you read or see the news, you'll hear that prices are up because of inflation, right? But while that's true, it's also incomplete. Because you might hear that and think, well, once this is all over, prices will come down again. But here's the thing, prices never go back down, ever. Think about it. When was the last time you saw the price of, say, bread drop back down to where it was 3 years ago? Or your rent? Or your grocery bill? It doesn't happen. Sure, inflation might slow down, but the prices themselves stay high. This is called disinflation, and this is where people get confused. The news says inflation is cooling, or inflation has dropped by 3.1%.
Some good news for shoppers. A new economic report shows consumers are finally getting some relief from rising prices, with core inflation at its lowest level since April of 2021.
Now you may think, that's great. Now things will become affordable again. But they don't, because prices are still rising, just more slowly than before. And it's compounding, building on that 9.1% spike from before. It's like someone punching you in the arm. First hard, and then softer. But you're still getting punched, and your wallet feels it. So your baseline cost of living has quietly reset upwards. What used to cost $100 or euros or whatever your currency now costs under $30. Even when inflation stabilizes, it remains at that $130 or euros, which means you now need more money every month just to maintain the same life. The things that actually matter, the foundations of a stable life, got hit the hardest. Groceries, gas, housing. US home prices nearly doubled over the last 10 years, climbing 105%. In There's No Place for Us, which was a New York Times top 10 book of 2025, Brian Goldstone writes, "Today, there isn't a single state, metropolitan area, or county in the United States where a full-time worker earning the local minimum wage can afford a two-bedroom apartment." And it's not much better in Europe, where home prices have increased by 53% on average the last 10 years, with countries like Portugal, the Netherlands, Hungary, Poland, and Bulgaria seeing even higher increases. Healthcare and education are getting more expensive. Childcare can cost as much as rent. These aren't luxuries. These are the foundations of a decent life, and they're becoming harder and harder to afford. Just have to wait for this noise in the street. So when I say your money buys less, I don't just mean you're paying more for the same stuff. What I mean is that the things you need to get ahead in life, education, healthcare, a home, have become less affordable. Your money buys less security, less stability, and less of a future. And even when the economy improves, you're still stuck at this higher baseline. You're still poorer than you were before, unless you can find a way to make more money. This is not in your head. This is simply how it works. Isn't it weird that we live in a world that worships efficiency, yet when it comes to the value of our money, that doesn't translate into more buying power? It's always inflation, never deflation. Well, that's intentional. Governments want inflation. Economists believe that gradually increasing the money supply is good for economic growth. So both the Federal Reserve and the European Central Bank have a 2% annual inflation target. And to hit that target, more money gets added to the system over time, which pushes prices up. And while that may be good for the economy overall, I don't know, I'm not the expert here, I do know it's bad news for your wallet. You're paying more and getting less. It's not just that the price of essentials has gone up, in many cases you also get less. There's a word for this, shrinkflation. I love this word. It means that companies give you less product while charging you the same amount of money or sometimes even more. In 2007, BJ Novak called out Cadbury on Late Night with Conan O'Brien for shrinkflating their cream eggs.
This is one.
This is this year's Cadbury egg, not the mini egg, not the mini cream egg. This is this year's egg.
Yes.
This is the egg.
Oh,
couple years ago.
And since then, people have noticed it everywhere. From Toblerone increasing the gaps between the triangles, and Tropicana reducing its standard orange juice bottle size from 52 ounce to 46 ounce, to Pringles giving you fewer and smaller chips, and Skippy adding a glass dimple to the bottom of that peanut butter jar, which you wouldn't notice when it's on the shelf. And it's not just about size, the quality has gotten worse as well. I bought this belt not even a year ago at H&M, and it was one of the more expensive belts they had. Yet it's already fallen apart. And this is not an outlier. The internet is full of people complaining about holes in their jeans after wearing them for just a year.
I bought these black jeans from Just Black Denim less than 1 year ago, okay? And these are like $100 jeans. Just Black is not very cheap. And they already have a goddamn hole in them. How ridiculous is that?
Or appliances not working properly. So many things are just shittier these days.
Make it shitty!
And I don't think that's an accident. They're produced with low quality, so you will have to replace them sooner. And it's not just goods that have gotten worse. When you want to contact customer service, good luck trying to speak to a human being these days. You'll get an automated phone tree, a chatbot that doesn't understand your question, or if you do get to speak to someone, they're just reading from a script and can't actually help you.
Don't tell me I'm gonna have to explain everything again. Do not put me on hold again. Do not put me on...
And with AI agents, that's only going to get worse.
No human available.
Companies have cut staff to the bone, and you're the one dealing with the consequences. So yes, inflation makes things more expensive, but on top of that, what you're getting has actually been degraded. You're not just paying more, you're getting ripped off. Companies learn they can charge more and get away with it. While you're paying more and getting less, corporate profits are way higher than inflation. From July 2020 to July 2024, inflation rose 21%, but in the same period, corporate profits grew by 90%. Prices are simply the sum of costs and corporate profits. So while rising costs can drive up what you pay at the gas pump or the grocery store, corporate profits can just as easily. During COVID, supply chains broke down, shipping costs went up, and there were labor shortages, so prices went up. Once the pandemic was over, supply chains recovered and shipping costs normalized. But businesses continued to pad their bottom lines rather than pass these savings on to the consumers. Why? Because they can. Because companies realize that they can get away with it. So you're not just paying more because of inflation, it's also greed.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
They rake in record profits while you're struggling to afford groceries. There's less competition than you think. So why can companies get away with this? Why can't you just take your business elsewhere? Because there is no elsewhere. In many industries, there are just a few players. When you walk down a grocery store aisle, you'll see dozens of brands, different packaging, different names, different price points. It looks like competition. But the global food industry is dominated by only a small number of big companies. Beverages, Coca-Cola and PepsiCo own hundreds of brands between them. Household products, Procter & Gamble owns Tide, Gain, Downy, and Cheer. So when you want to switch detergent brand because Tide got too expensive, you're still giving your money to the same company. Apple and Samsung dominate the smartphone market, and Google and Apple dominate 99% of the smartphone OS market with Android and iOS. Since the 1990s, 75% of America's industries have become more concentrated. 4 firms control 85% of all beef processing, and 93% of the sodas we drink are owned by just 3 companies. When there's no real competition, there's no pressure for companies to lower prices or improve quality. When one company raises prices, the others will follow. And when another company cuts quality, the others do too. Because where are you going to go? You're being pushed to spend. Think about how easy it is to buy something right now. You see something on Amazon, click one button, and it's ordered. Apple Pay, Google Pay, you don't even need to take out your wallet anymore. Just tap your phone and it's done. The friction between wanting something and buying it has been reduced to almost nothing. And that's intentional, because every extra step in the purchase process is a chance for you to reconsider and think, do I actually need this? Can I afford this? One time, I talked myself into buying a semi-professional coffee bean grinder. This was like 300-400 euros, so like a serious investment. But I was in the shop, physically in the coffee shop, ready to buy. Except they didn't have it on site. They would have to bring it in from a warehouse, which would take a couple of hours. The thing was, I needed to catch my bus, so I couldn't wait for that. And I said, that's okay, I'll order it online and then you can just ship it to me. Except that's not what happened because I had a change of mind. I thought like, I don't think I really need this. I spend that kind of money. Companies hate this. They spend a ton of money removing this friction, these extra steps. With autofill, saved information, one-click buying, buy now, pay later. And everything is a subscription these days. Streaming services, Adobe Creative Cloud, meal kits like HelloFresh, and even car features like heated seats and remote start.
Braking is now a premium feature. Please enter your credit card details.
According to a recent survey, the average American adult spends over $1,000 per year on subscriptions, 20% of which they don't even use. You sign up once and it just keeps charging you month after month until you remember to cancel. And while you can sign up with just one click, canceling is often much more difficult. Your paycheck isn't keeping up. Everything I talked about so far wouldn't be such a problem if wages kept up with the higher cost of living. But they don't. Across most developed countries, nominal wages, that's what you earn in euros or dollars, may have gone up in the last 2 decades, but real wages, which is what you can actually buy with that money, has essentially been flat for decades, because wages haven't kept up with the cost of essentials. Going back to the price of housing, just this week the Netherlands Bureau for Economic Policy Analysis released a report in which they stated that anyone with an average income, which is about €50,000 gross, now needs to put up €100,000 of their own money in order to buy an average home. That's the difference between the price of an average home and the amount that they can borrow under a mortgage. Just 10 years ago, they would have been able to buy an average home on just their salary. €100,000. Which person on an average income has that amount of money in the bank? So if you don't already have home equity in your current home, have rich parents, a sugar daddy, or just a partner on a good income, how can you possibly buy a home? So what good is it then when your nominal wage goes up when your real wage doesn't? So here's what it all means in practice. Things are more expensive. It's not just something in your head that you're imagining. You work just as hard, maybe even harder, but your money buys less because of inflation, shrinkflation, corporate greed, and real wages not keeping up. You get lower quality and worse servers, and meanwhile the whole sales process is designed to get you to spend without thinking while you're being pushed to more and more subscriptions. That's the real reason why everything is so expensive now. Look, I'm not going to pretend there's an easy fix for this. I'll be the last person to tell you you need to stop drinking your daily latte, as if that will magically enable you to buy a home in the future. But once you see the game for what it is, you can stop playing by its rules. First, by not blaming yourself. The fact that your money doesn't go as far as 10 years ago is not your fault. Second, get intentional. You can't control corporate profit margins or wage stagnation, but you can control how you respond. Every dollar or euro you spend is a choice. You can spend less, avoid going into debt, and choose quality over convenience. You can stop trading your time and money for things that don't actually matter. That's what my YouTube channel is all about. Here's what I know. While it's definitely nice to have money, the things that actually matter in life, like love, relationships, health, purpose, can't be bought. I like how Dave Chappelle put it.
You can't change the world, but you can make a corner of it pretty nice.
Less stuff and no consumer debt means less stress, more time, more clarity, and ultimately more freedom. If you want to get started on that, check out my video 15 Simple Money Habits that save me $500 every month, right here. So thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope you got some value out of this, some insights, and I'd love to see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.